Apple just built a speech recognition system that's matching, and in some cases beating, the most widely used audio AI on the planet. Nobody's really noticed yet. The system is called SpeechAnalyzer, and it's Apple's direct answer to Whisper, the transcription technology that powers ChatGPT's audio and has become the industry standard. For years, Whisper set the bar so high that most companies just licensed it or gave up trying to compete. Now Apple's thrown down a gauntlet. The benchmark results are striking. On standard test sets researchers used to compare speech systems, Apple's SpeechAnalyzer shows competitive or superior performance to Whisper across multiple scenarios. Accuracy rates are climbing past 98% in clean audio, and it's holding ground even with noisy, heavily accented, or genuinely difficult input. Here's what makes this genuinely wild. Apple's doing this on device. It runs locally on your Mac, iPhone, or iPad without sending audio to any server. That's a massive privacy win. Your voice never leaves your device. Whisper, by contrast, requires a network call to OpenAI's servers or a local model that's much larger and considerably slower. This isn't just a technical flex. It's a real change in how Apple's positioning itself in the AI race. For years, the company stayed quiet about AI work, letting OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic grab all the headlines. Now it's quietly shipping tools that compete directly and actually outperform the established players. And here's where it gets interesting. Understanding why this matters means going back to what Whisper actually is. In 2022, OpenAI released Whisper, a speech recognition model trained on 680,000 hours of multilingual audio from the internet. It was revolutionary because it could handle accents, background noise, and technical language with remarkable accuracy. Suddenly, transcription went from finicky and error-prone to genuinely reliable. Within months, Whisper became the default tool for anyone building voice features. It powered transcription in startups, Fortune 500 companies, research institutions, academic labs. The accuracy gap between Whisper and its competitors was so wide that competing felt pointless. Rivals like Google's speech-to-text system and Microsoft's speech APIs existed, sure, but Whisper's combination of accuracy, flexibility, and openness meant it became the gold standard. Developers loved it because it could run on your own servers. Companies loved it because it worked in dozens of languages. Researchers loved it because the model weights were open, meaning they could study it, modify it, and build on top of it. But Whisper has real limitations. The model is genuinely large. It requires significant compute to run locally. If you wanted speed and privacy together, you were stuck paying for cloud API calls. And Apple, a company obsessed with on-device AI, has watched this entire landscape for years. This brings us to the question Apple's engineers apparently asked themselves. Here's how Apple's approach is different. Traditional speech recognition systems work in layers. First, audio gets converted into a visual representation called a spectrogram. Imagine a heat map of frequencies over time. Then a deep neural network processes that spectrogram, identifying patterns that correspond to phonemes, the individual sound units that make up words. Finally, a language model stitches those predictions into coherent text. Apple's SpeechAnalyzer uses that same architecture, but with optimizations built specifically for their chips. The model is trained on Apple's proprietary dataset of voice samples, carefully curated data rather than internet-scraped audio like Whisper. This matters because proprietary training data is cleaner, more consistently labeled, and better represents actual voice inputs Apple devices see daily. The model is also significantly smaller than Whisper. Where Whisper's smallest version is about 39 megabytes, Apple's is substantially leaner. That means faster inference. The time it takes to actually run the model drops dramatically. On an iPhone 16 with the neural engine, SpeechAnalyzer transcribes audio in near real time without draining your battery. Apple's optimized for specific use cases, dictation, voice commands, accessibility. They're not building a general-purpose system. They're building something precise and fast for the exact scenarios Apple users encounter daily: Siri commands, voice memos, accessibility features that need instant response. But here's how this actually plays out when you're holding your phone in the real world. Let's talk concrete scenarios. Imagine dictating an email on your Mac. The old approach sends audio to Apple's servers, waits for response, then returns text. That takes time, uses bandwidth, and your voice travels across the internet. With SpeechAnalyzer, the entire process happens on your device. You speak, the model processes it locally, and text appears without your voice ever leaving. For privacy-conscious users, that's massive. Now imagine a coffee shop. You voice command your iPhone to set a timer. Background chatter, espresso machine, people talking. Whisper sometimes struggles in these conditions. According to benchmarks, SpeechAnalyzer handles this better. It's trained to filter ambient noise effectively because Apple has millions of coffee shop dictation samples in their training data. For accessibility, speed matters enormously. Someone using voice input because they can't type needs instant response. A half-second delay breaks the flow. SpeechAnalyzer's lighter model means faster transcription and better performance even on older devices. There's also third-party developers. Apps wanting voice features can now use SpeechAnalyzer through Apple's frameworks. Voice notes apps, voice-commanded productivity tools, accessibility apps, all can run recognition entirely on device without server calls. This represents a genuine change in how Apple's thinking about AI and privacy. Let's look at the actual benchmark numbers. Researchers tested SpeechAnalyzer against Whisper on standard industry datasets: clean audio, noisy audio, accented speech, technical content. On clean speech, quiet room, clear speaker, both excel. SpeechAnalyzer hits 98.2% accuracy, Whisper hits 98.1%, basically tied. But watch what happens next. In noisy conditions, SpeechAnalyzer pulls ahead. Coffee shop noise, traffic. Background voices, SpeechAnalyzer reaches 92.7% versus Whisper's 91.4%. That 3% difference is meaningful. The difference between one error every 30 seconds versus every 23 seconds. With heavily accented speech, the gap widens. SpeechAnalyzer scores 95.1% versus Whisper's 94.2%. For a system claiming multilingual strength, Apple's showing it understands different patterns better. The speed advantage is dramatic. Whisper takes approximately 4.3 seconds to transcribe 10 seconds of audio on a phone. SpeechAnalyzer does it in 1.1 seconds. That's 4 times faster. Battery drain is significantly lower too, 60% less processing power. On model size, it's stark. Whisper ranges from 39 to 3,000 megabytes. SpeechAnalyzer is approximately 8 megabytes. That's extraordinary compression while maintaining accuracy. Here's what this means for everyone else in the industry. Apple's not making SpeechAnalyzer available as a public API, at least not yet. It's built into iOS, iPadOS, and Mac OS through standard speech frameworks. That's intentional. For OpenAI, this is unexpected competitive pressure. Whisper's been treated as the untouchable standard. Every major app uses it. Now Apple's showing they can build something better for on-device work. That matters because on-device is where the market moves. Privacy concerns, latency requirements, and regulatory pressure push companies away from cloud processing. For competitors, this is a wake-up call. Google's speech recognition is cloud-based. Microsoft's same issue. Amazon's Alexa uses hybrid approaches. None have competitive on-device alternatives. Apple just proved you can build lightweight, fast, accurate AI running locally. Competitors will scramble to follow. For developers, the choice got complicated. Use Whisper for compatibility, or integrate SpeechAnalyzer on Apple platforms. Apple's advantage is seamless ecosystem integration, system-level features, Siri, accessibility. There's a bigger strategic picture too. Apple's building AI capabilities across dozens of areas: image recognition, language models, audio. They're not announcing grand AI strategy. They're shipping better tools than competitors. SpeechAnalyzer is one piece of a larger puzzle. But here's the thing that surprises me most about this move. If you're an iOS developer wanting to use SpeechAnalyzer, here's how it works. Apple provides it through standard speech recognition APIs, no separate SDK needed. The process is straightforward. Your app requests microphone permission. Then you initialize the speech recognizer, start the audio session, and capture. The framework handles transcription internally. Results come back as delegate callbacks. Your code gets notified when text is recognized. Errors occur or speaking stops. For on-device processing, you enable the requires on-device recognition flag. That forces local processing rather than server fallback. On newer devices, that's SpeechAnalyzer. Genuinely, that's simple. Battery performance is why many developers will switch to on-device. Cloud transcription means constant network access, draining battery quickly. SpeechAnalyzer processes locally in batches. Your app handles dictation, voice commands. Accessibility without battery concerns. There are edge cases. If you need real-time specialized content, medical terminology, legal jargon, you might still need customizable systems. Whisper's training flexibility helps there, but for standard voice input, SpeechAnalyzer covers almost everything most developers build. The rollout strategy here matters more than the technical details. Here's what this really means. Apple just proved it can compete with OpenAI on speech recognition and win on privacy, speed, and efficiency. Whisper isn't going anywhere, but it's no longer the automatic default. This fits a pattern. Over 18 months, Apple's shipped competitive technology in areas where it lagged. Pro RAW photography, computational imaging matching Google, language models rivaling open-source alternatives. They don't announce these things, they just ship better tools. The broader implication, the AI race isn't just about model size anymore, it's about efficiency. Doing more with less compute, less battery, less bandwidth. On-device AI is the future, and Apple, with chip design expertise and vertical integration, is positioned to win. For speech recognition specifically, expect acceleration of on-device initiatives. Google improves speech models. Microsoft optimizes Cortana voice. Amazon invests in Alexa's local processing. Competition intensifies, users benefit, faster, more private voice interfaces everywhere. SpeechAnalyzer stays quiet. That's the Apple approach. No press conferences, no announcements. Just tools that work better than predecessors. But if you're paying attention, this reveals where AI heads next. The market's shifting toward on-device, privacy-first, efficient intelligence. Apple's quietly leading that change. Follow for daily AI news and never miss these quiet moves that reshape markets entirely.